They don't see the weight that we take from other people, because I am a firm believer in energy is never destroyed, it is transferred. So we are taking that energy into ourselves. We are taking the energy of our audience onto ourselves. There's just a lot of things that us in the industry take on, whether we're receiving another person physically through pornographic content, or we're taking on emotional distress from other colleagues, all a lot. And it's a lot emotionally, it's a lot mentally, and to keep a face all the time smiling, even though your world's crashing apart.
Greetings and welcome to YAS Podcast, formerly known as
YAS Stripper Podcast.
This is our podcast, all of ours.
A podcast for all sex workers. In this podcast, we will discuss the ins and outs, ups and downs of our lives and experiences as sex workers. I am your host, Daisy Ducati.
I am your Hopra, Gigi Holiday.
I'm your stripper queen from the north, Onyx.
I'm AM Davies, and this is YAS Podcast.
Hi, everyone. My name is Princess Marx, and I will be your host today on YAS Podcast. Thank you for being here with us. Before we get into today's episode, I want to remind you that YAS Podcast is produced by YAS Work, a nonprofit organization dedicated to changing public perception through media. If you love our podcast, please consider donating. Donations like yours keep this project going. Head to yaswork.org/donate. Our producer today is AMD.
Hey, so excited to be here today. Hello, Marx.
Excited. Hi. And our guest is Vampiress, a featured performer. Hi. She's a featured performer, dominatrix, former ballet dancer in Russia, and later a circus artist. She has also done go-go dancing, camming, sugaring, and dabbled in porn. Vampiress is currently a touring artist and has been winning almost every performance competition she enters. Welcome to the pod, Vamp.
That's true.
Thank you. I appreciate the intro.
Yes, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that we're all here together today. And I know, Vamp and I actually are local friends. She lives close by, and I got to see her perform Friday night at Exotica.
How was that?
It was intense. Like, Vamp, like, I'm sure you know, but in the beginning, they were like, before you came on stage, they were pushing everybody back. And my partner was like, oh, it's probably because, like, she's going to splatter blood all over the place, right?
No, that was the second day.
Okay. And then we're like, oh, no, it's because of the fire. Like, Marx, she came out and, like, literally set the stage on fire. It was the raddest thing.
That one is my biggest show, my claim to fame.
Yeah. How did you even figure that out? That you're like, I need to set stages on fire.
So I've always been a fire performer. Me and my brother used to spin as children. Like, my parents were burners back in the day. They went to Burning Man. My mom was a Burning Man regional. So we're always at those events. So me and my brother used to perform at Burning Man and Apogea and shit like that. Super fun, like crazy big fire. So it's always been a family trait, I guess. And there was a day in which I got asked to do the Stripper Olympics. And I was driving home from Tennessee, I think from Christmas, and was like having a mental breakdown with like, what the hell am I doing? There's no way that I'm at that level yet, right? The Mad Max movie came out, and I'm always compared to that actor, that main actor. Everyone's like, you look just like her. And I was like, well, Mad Max is kind of like part of my childhood, so I kind of built a show like Mad Max feel, but with the Vamp signature, right? And it kind of just grew from there. I called my brother. I was like, listen, we're gonna start training some old school pyrotechnic shit that we used to do when we were kids. Get your ass over here so I don't light myself on fire. And I went to Louisiana and I did it and I won the whole thing.
Amazing.
That's crazy. So wait, let me take this opportunity to say, so are you Russian, or did you simply dance in Russia? Simply dance in Russia?
Some Russian in me. I'm kind of a mutt as far as like my generations go. I'm like part Hispanic, part German, part Russian. all the things. And I trained in Russia for a long time. I was Russian trained by Russian coaches when I was a young girl up until I was a professional ballet dancer. Tore through my hip flexors, ended my ballet career. And then came back home, got a degree in dance, and was like, we're going to keep pushing.
That's insane. You are like a super, on top of being a super legit, I don't know how to say it, alternative performer, you're also a super legit classical performer. Like dance.
Yes, I used to be a very classical girl.
Okay, so from reading your bio before the recording, I thought maybe you were born in Russia, but you went and trained in Russia. Very, very cool.
Yes.
I have so many questions. Do you mind if we take a little deeper into your personal
life? Of course.
Okay. How did you go from being born and living in the US with burner parents to ending up studying ballet in Russia?
So Russia and that kind of correlated hand in hand. So I started ballet when I was really, really young, like before I could even walk, really. I had a birth defect, which we now know was a bigger issue for me. I was born with hyperpronation in my ankles. And at the time when I was born, they're like, hey, there's a surgery that we can do, and we'd have to break your daughter's ankles and reconstruct them. And at the time, because I was born in 99, the surgery was not 100% great, right? Like there was a pretty high risk factor of like me not being able to walk again because I'm a growing girl and all this stuff. And we went to another doctor, my mom did, and they found out that if I did ballet, that I might be able to strengthen my ankles enough to hold my joints in place properly. So that's what my mom did. She threw me in ballet. I was on point by the time I was 9. And just kept going through that route. When I would go back and forth and would train, like I had Russian trainers here in the US, I had Russian trainers in Russia, and would go back and forth. So it was a little bit of like both worlds were happening at once. My ballet training definitely came first. And later on in my life, we found out that I actually have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so I'm hypermobile in all my joints, which is why I was born that way. So it was a lot as a child, but it trained me well.
Wow. I mean, if that's not a lemons to lemonade situation, I don't know.
Right.
That's amazing. So instead of doing the invasive surgery, you guys chose sort of to do the more rehabilitative approach, and it turned out so great for you, actually.
Yeah, and it ended up making my career.
Yeah. Wow. So impressive. You've also worked in...
Good job, Mom, right?
Good choice. I mean, how considerate of a choice for her.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you've also worked in almost every corner of the adult industry. You've done go dancing, stripping, sugaring, camming, fetish. If you were to look back, what do you think set you on that path, and what parts of that journey shaped you the most as a dom?
I think it's kind of like a sad story, actually, more than anything. I was in some really bad domestic situations and sexual abuse situations and all that stuff. And that kind of set me in a path of like realizing that a lot of like, I guess, vanilla people don't understand that, or like we're kind of trained, even young girls are trained like, hey, you grow up, you get married, you kind of just deal with the shit. You deal with whatever the dynamic you're in, because that's kind of just what we're taught. And as I was going through all that and with my ex, and a lot of essay and a lot of really bad things happened, I realized I turned to the kink community, because I had the flip side to essay. Instead of drawing inward and like not wanting any intimacy, I was the exact opposite. I needed intimacy to feel okay, because that was just such a predominant thing in my life. So I reached out and got on FetLife and realized that there's a whole community of people that can offer so much more than just that play dynamic. It can offer rehabilitation, mental stability after an SA situation and an abuse situation like that. And I kind of fell in love with the industry in that regard as like a sub to a lot of DOMs. I realized after that like sub role is really not my want. That is not me. I was kind of forced into that role by the people I was with, and I kind of came into my own self and my own power via the dominatrix industry. And it was all non-professional at the time, and as time went on, like I became more professional with everything, and became more mainstream. I worked in some dungeons before a lot of them shut down here in Pennsylvania because of COVID. And then I did cam work, sugar babying. Like it all just kind of flowed into one another. So it was just kind of like my saving grace after a really bad situation.
That's really crazy and cool. Like, and you know, I think all the research tells us that kink is like a healthy way to communicate about sexuality, and the people that more people should have access to that as like conceptual.
I agree 100%.
Did you feel that being a sub informed how you later behaved as a dom, both professionally and in the lifestyle? And did you feel that it taught you something?
Yes, it did. So I belonged to a lot of like different types of dominatrixes and doms in general. And I realized very quickly that some people who claim that they are a dom aren't necessarily true doms that are there to care for you, right? They tend to be power hungry people that are looking to harm others. Like there is that side to kink that I realized very quickly early on. And I realized that some of these people would demand like this respect without the trust, right? They demand this power dynamic without any care. And I learned how important aftercare was. And whatever that may look like for that individual. Sometimes the subs may need just to sit in the corner with a blanket and they don't want to be touched or talked to. Others really need to be coddled and loved and reassured after a session. Understanding the drop in dopamine and serotonin and the need for check-ins even a few days after to a week after sessions are absolutely necessary. So that really helped me inform my way of going about being a dom, is like that care that's needed for everybody. And it looks different for everyone, but taking the time to ask them what they need is very important.
Do you think there is a difference in terms of how much aftercare is both expected and needed in between like the lifestyle community and the pro community? Do you find a difference in terms of what subs need?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes in the professional community, it tends to be very transactional. Like you're there to shoot the content, right? And then that's it. Or they're there to pay you for that session in the dungeon, and then like your time's up. Like it's very the best way I can explain it is transactional versus like the kink community that's more personal based, tends to be a little bit more intimate, right? There's a little bit more time for aftercare. I mean, most doms in the dom, like if you're working in a dungeon, a lot time for aftercare, but there isn't always that time or space to do like a few days after check-ins, right? You're buying a service, whereas you're still building in the relationship, but it's still a service.
And did you find that there was a difference also between professional and lifestyle players in terms of how often doms were more power hungry rather than kind of holistic in their approach to being a dom? Like, is there a difference between? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely find that more of the lifestyle people tend to be where we run into a lot of that power hungry dynamics of like they aren't educated. Honestly, they don't understand. They're not educated in the nuances and the like effect it can have on many people, right? A lot of the professionals have been doing this for years. They've seen a lot. They know when somebody is overstimulated and like are about to break down or can't or done sessioning. Like you can see the body language, even if they're gagged or like not in a way that they can actually tell you or show you. Like you can just feel the shift in the room. You can see the body language just change. And I find that a lot of professional doms are more keen into that rather than lifestyle players, which I have met some really good lifestyle players, but a lot of those people are used to this small group that they're used to playing with. So yeah, they might be keyed into those people, but when playing with a new partner or like trying to get into outward dynamics, it's harder to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. I was trying to be respectful.
Yes, please ask.
Okay, so you both are doms. I'm not. I have never ever done that. And I've always admired it, but I've never, and I'm listening to you two talk and I feel like you, Marx, you know what Vamp is saying. Like right? Because you both have done this. And I'm like, okay, what do you mean by lifestyle? I think I know what you mean, but what do you mean by that? And then also, like for people who don't understand dominatrix, who have this view, right? Because this is what happens to the majority of population is they see things in movies and TV and they think that they know what they're thinking about, but they don't really know, right? And so I'm hearing, and I've kind of learned through kink and dominatrix from being in the sex work industry that there is care that goes into it. There is thoughtfulness, and that there is like, and that consent is like one of the biggest pillars of importance in the community. What would you say? So it's twofold. Explain lifestyle to me, what the difference is. And then also, what would you say to like people who don't understand dominatrix, who have learned from the movies? Like, what isn't it like one really important thing that for them to understand and know?
Do you want to touch on that, Marx?
Oh, I thought the question was for you.
It's for both of you, I guess. So like you can both kind of answer, go back and forth.
Well, why don't you go first, Vamp? This interview is about you. So
yeah.
Okay. So lifestyle is people who are in the kink community, like and just enjoying it as like personal playtime. There's a lot of great platforms for that, like FetLife. They have Munches and stuff where a lot of the community gets involved. But it's more it's almost like the same difference between like mainstream porn and people who just film content for fun personally, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Like there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the difference between that. There's people that are like, I enjoy this dynamic. I enjoy the ideology behind, and I enjoy playing in that versus doing it professionally, whether you're working in a dungeon or shooting mainstream porn with the kink community, etc.
Thank you.
And then what was the other question?
Yeah, so like what would we say, cuz I'm hearing you express so much about care, even like, you know, after like a few days and a week after, and I don't think that the public, like vanilla, like civilian people understand like that is a thing, right? Like I think vanilla people think like you show up, a dominatrix like beats the shit out of you, they're super mean to you, and then you leave, right? But that's not how it is it? Right.
No.
Yeah.
Not.
So if you could like succinctly say like what it means to you and your clients, like in just a short, like 2 to 3 to 4 sentence thing. Like,
Yeah. So in general, like it's a power dynamic, right? It's the release of an exchange of power in most cases. It's about surrendering yourself um, to another person's care more than anything else. Removing yourself from decision fatigue, removing yourself from the need to be the person in demand all the time.
Yeah.
It kind of, the role of a Dom in most cases is to care and take weight from our subs.
That's really cool. Thank you. That was really powerful.
And isn't that
Yeah.
counter to what most people, that's so the opposite of what most people expect, right?
Exactly.
I mean, yes, I do, obviously people come in with their, both in a lifestyle and professionally, people come in with their kinks, and a really intense physical, like corporal impact scene, like where you're beating someone, may very well be followed by a very intense nurturing time, if that's what that person requires. Some people don't want that, and that's totally okay. But many people do, because they've just been through this like super intense physical ordeal. And although they enjoy that in a masochistic way, they still are human beings, right? And so they need to be held a little bit afterwards. And you're right, AM. I think most people don't know that unless they're in the thing.
Right. Yeah. And I've heard through my friends and through people I know, I've heard these types of conversations that I think that most people don't really get to hear, because they just see what's been filtered to them through mainstream media or just scrolling really quickly. Like there's like findomming has seemed to be trending on social media, and so we see that, and I understand inherently that findom is very different than original dominatrix style, but because findom has been like just really pushed through the algorithms lately, and I see it and I'm like, it's kind of funny to me, but I'm also like, this isn't only how it is though, and I wonder if people who don't know how to think critically are like, well, that's how it is, and it's not.
Yes.
And it's just so touching hearing what you're saying about how your sessions go.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Also, like findoming has been around for a while. It's become monetized, and it's kind of become something a little different thanks to mainstream media and just the way our world is right now. Originally, it was again to remove decision fatigue of people who are always dealing with their finances, people who are like, I cannot budget. I can't figure out how to manage my money. And they would go to their findoms, and we would be like, this is your allotted amount that you're allowed to spend this week on X, Y, and Z. And that was what we provide. We provided services to help manage money. And yeah, there is that like cool power dynamic that I guess has been more capitalized on in the regards of like, oh, well, this is for me, this is for you. But the like baseline, the origination of all that was like, I am providing you a service, but I'm also removing the like weight of you having to deal with your finances. So it's become a little bit of something different, thanks to media, mainstream media, and this regard for like need of power. I find that frequently upcoming in our world is this need for a power dynamic. It's always a pissing contest. And it's kind of sad. It really is. And it's opening up a lot of doors for a lot of very dangerous situations for people who are unfamiliar or don't know the signs. I've had a lot of people come to me who have been severely hurt and financially, physically, etc., by people who like claim to be dominatrixes or findoms, and they're just there to take advantage of people.
We could do a whole episode just on findom.
Yeah, we
That's
could.
really interesting. One of my longest whatever. One of my original mentors, the person who actually really got me into this, is Princess Callie, and one of the biggest classes she teaches, she's an educator also, is on ethical findom. And I think the version of findom that you see, and from my perspective, I think mostly in social media, I don't really see it on like the news. Occasionally you see it in movies and stuff, but either way, the sort of most like boiled down version you see is this like extreme humiliation, like super disparate power dynamic. But Callie really talks a lot about the various kind of like what you mentioned, right? Like removing decision fatigue and giving someone a budget, having someone like not worry about that part of their life. And if you are doing extreme humiliation, how to do it ethically, right? How to negotiate, all the stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah, we, as usual, what we get in mainstream representations of kink is always super
extreme
and poorly portrayed and all that stuff. And in reality, it's so much more complex always. And usually a lot more ethical, although not always.
Yeah, I agree.
We wanted to give thanks to New Moon Network for awarding YAS Work a micro grant for the year of 2025. New Moon Network is focused on advancing the equity, human rights, and welfare of people in the sex trades, with a special focus on women and LGBTQ plus individuals. You can find out more about New Moon's work at newmoonnetwork.org.
As a Dom, how do you think about power exchange beyond the playroom in your art, in your advocacy, in your day-to-day life?
I think of it as, like I said earlier, explaining how I got into it. It's like the way that I walk the world, more so than anything. And I, in my everyday life, it's same thing. Like I'm always willing to give somebody help, right? Whether it be a fellow dancer or just some random person, if I can make their lives a little bit easier or just bring a little bit of sparkle, whether it's me complimenting their dress and just bringing a little bit of joy. That's kind of how I carry it, I guess, because I know what it's like to be at the bottom of the barrel. I know what it's like to walk around every day and be like, I hate myself. I hate everything about this world and I don't want to be here anymore. And it was the doms, it was the sex workers in my life who like grabbed me by the face, like pick that chin up, don't stop, you have what it takes and you got to keep pushing. So for me, at least, walking around in my everyday life, it's to provide that to others because it was given to me as gift.
It's beautiful. I'm going to just jump around a little more.
Yeah, we could jump around everywhere. I'm okay with that.
You've mentioned how much of this work is misunderstood or glamorized. What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about the adult industry?
Which part? Because there's which part of the adult industry, right? So as far as featuring goes, I guess, like featuring is, like a lot of people see us as like, oh my God, you get to travel, you get to go to all these new places and it's so much fun, right? Don't get me wrong, it is. But what people don't see past that glamorized, like, oh, I just won this and I was just at this event and I'm at this hotel, is they don't see the tears after. They don't see me alone in a dressing room packing up my stuff by myself and not knowing how I'm going to get home because, oh yeah, the shuttle just left and the event isn't coordinated correctly and there's no communication. They don't see the sides of like years and of training that goes into making who I am now. People look at me in the future world and are like, oh, you've only been doing this for a year and a half, 2 years, like, and you're crushing it. They didn't see my entire childhood training to this point. They don't see the days and weeks we spend and months curating, financially, like investing in our shows, huffing glue because I forgot to open a window while putting rhinestones on my costume and having a massive migraine, right? Like, it's those things. And same with dom work. Like, it's they don't see the weight that we take from other people, because I am a firm believer in energy is never destroyed, it is transferred. So we are taking that energy into ourselves. We are taking the energy of our audience onto ourselves. There's just a lot of things that us in the industry take on, whether we're receiving another person physically through pornographic content, or we're taking on emotional distress from other colleagues, all a lot. And it's a lot emotionally, it's a lot mentally, and to keep a face all the time smiling, even though your world's crashing apart, whether it's personal life, coordinated events that are like really messing you up and screwing you over. Like, we have to keep that face. And if you drop it, like, it is publicized, and it can also turn very dark very quickly because people take it to the extremes. So I think that's the hardest part is, we're all expected to like withhold just such a ironclad face, and it's not a lot of representation to what goes in behind it. Because when you look online, all these girls are like, I made $1,000 at the strip club. Like, even like basic house dancing, these, like, it's become a really mainstream thing on social media of like, oh, I'm just gonna become a midnight ballerina, and they glorify the crap out of it. And they don't talk about, oh, I was just sexually harassed in the back room and grabbed and paid $0. Or, like, there's none of that conversation going on in the mainstream media. And it's what is causing a lot of young, unknowing, fresh faces to get taken advantage of very heavily in this industry. And my belief, at least. I know it's kind of controversial.
I mean, I think it's important to acknowledge the realities of the work, right? While also still acknowledging that people can choose that, people do choose that work every day. Not people can. And
Exactly.
I'm with you that, like, it's not for the naive, right?
Right.
Can you just explain? So I'm like you two. I am not a stripper, and so for various reasons, I know what featuring is. But in case someone doesn't know, can you explain what that is?
Sure. So featuring is being a showgirl version of a stripper, right? We like, strippers or dancers are always performing on stages, right? They do perform special events, and we're always performing nonstop at our local club, and we pay house fees to be there, right? That's a house girl. You're paying to be there, you're paying your dues to the club. Featuring is where the clubs pay you to come in and entertain. Some of us put on like full curated themed shows. Some of us just are dancers who are very well known and very good at what we do and are paid to be there. So that's like the most basic difference is house dancers pay to work. Features are paid to be there and show up.
Yeah, and there's also that's where porn stars and strippers, strip clubs and featuring overlap, because the porn stars go on tour and dance. And some of them are like incredible, and some are like, I'm just here to, showcase my celebrity status, right? And so it's like this mix, but it's always like the porn stars coming on stage to feature was always so much fun because they just do the most wild shit on stage. And it would bring in a lot of different customers too. So that's where like porn and stripping overlaps, is specifically features. Like, I've been in so many clubs where Stormy Daniels was in the dressing room. And like, if I had known back then that she'd be a household name now,
right?
I would have been like,
if only.
Let's be friends. But even then, she was so famous, I wouldn't have even. And that was another thing And when I was working in the clubs in LA, like we didn't like go up to them. Like they had their own separate, we would only really approach them if they seemed approachable or came over to us. But it's a very like very pedestal type thing. Yeah.
That is a conversation that we're having a lot as features, is how we interact with our house girls. I personally will either involve them with my show or check in with them. Different features interact with house girls differently.
Yeah.
And same with the porn stars. Porn stars are features or can be features. That kind of hierarchy is the same. Also, in the porn industry, you have content creators who do porn technically, but they're creating their own. And then you have mainstream porn stars, and that's like a different bracket entirely. Like, to call I don't even call myself a porn star. Like, I am by no means a porn star. Like, that title holds weight and like is so much work put in. Just like a girl who wins a pole competition that's a house girl should not be calling themselves a feature, because there's so much more that goes into being a feature than just winning a competition. Like, so yes, it's a payment, but it's also the amount of work that goes into those things to earn that title.
Thank you for explaining that. That is actually stuff I was not aware of.
Yeah.
Departure, was Stormy Daniels approachable?
She was pretty cool. Yeah, she was pretty cool. I mean, she was busy, and so like and understanding busy, like on those nights where you have like 5 regulars there at once and you're like,
She's like, oh my God.
yeah. And so she was just busy because she was such a star, but she was always very cool. She was one of the very cool ones. A lot of them were pretty cool, but like they were just so busy, and we were busy. And so it wasn't, and we weren't starstruck by them, but they had to be like really coming up to us to be like, okay, we're going to chat with you, because we just didn't want to interrupt their work. I think it was also like a level of respect. Like they have so much to do and I'm busy, because they're always on the weekends too, right? And that's when we're the busiest also, but there was always like a lot of respect both ways, even though there wasn't like a check-in, which I think, Vamp, that's really nice that you do a check-in, because on some of those weekends, the customers are there to see the famous feature, the famous porn star, right? And so you go up and you're like, you want to dance? And they're like, oh, I'm waiting for so-and-so. They're waiting to have their moment, with the feature. And so it's nice to check in.
Yeah, I like to check in mainly because like our rates are different for dances too. So a lot of the time, like, we'll be like, hey, like, if you're trying to sell a dance, come up to me, like, we'll talk, because a lot of time I'll go to like customers like, oh, this is my rate, and they're like, why are you so much more expensive? I'm like, oh, baby, because I'm a feature. But if I'm out of your price range, please meet her. She's been working all night. She's going to take good care of you. Like,
yeah.
And it provides this really nice dynamic between the house dancers and the features, because I'm able to help them out. And when somebody's there to see me and I might not recognize them because I have like 20 million things going on, I'm prepping for my show, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, the girls will come up to me and be like, hey, so-and-so really wants to see you. You should go over there. And I can do the same for them. So it just brings this camaraderie of like dynamics to the club. That's really nice. Especially because like I don't know where I'm at half the time. Like I'm in this new state. I've never been here. I've never been to this club. Like, so having the house girls on my side like actually really helps me. I feel like it helps me more than it helps them in most cases, because it's like I don't know what's happening. I'm in a brand new place, brand new club. So
yeah, I featured in Mexico once and I didn't know how to speak Spanish yet. And I wanted to communicate with the house dancers and I couldn't. So what I would do is when I would walk past them when they were in groups, I would just walk past them like with my head down a little bit and kind of acknowledge them like this to let them know, like, I know I'm in your house and I respect you. And so like that was the best way I could communicate to them that like this is, like, because it's Mexico and I feel like in the States it's like it's a little different, but there was that language barrier and like, so I totally get it. You want to communicate and let them know like I'm I'm on your side. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take butter
Right.
out of your mouth.
Right.
That's really nice to hear that the camaraderie goes both ways. Like, maybe not always, but sounds like a lot of the time. That's super cool. So, Vamp, it sounds like you're touring nonstop into November, or have you just finished?
I'm touring nonstop until November, yeah.
So a few more
And into
days to go.
November even. I'll be touring nonstop until November 9th, and then November 10th I get double knee surgery, so I'll be out for a little bit.
25 years old and already having double knee surgery.
Yep.
You know what? Actually, I do have one question that we didn't get to. I'm really curious about your background in circus, in the circus arts. Can you talk a little bit more about what you did? I'm assuming aerial, but who knows?
Yeah, so I went to a school called Circadium. It was the first U.S. accredited school for circus education. I was the third ever class. I had to drop out my first year and then apply the second year due to the abuse situation that I was in. But yeah, I learned everything circus. I was what was called a multidisciplinary student. So I specialized in contact juggling, aerials, and contortion.
Wait, what is
But I learned
contact
everything.
dribbling?
Okay, so this is a whole tangent. Contact juggling is most people call it fushigi, right? They think of the fushigis, right? Fun fact, Michael Motion was the one who developed contact juggling. It's with glass orbs, and you're rolling them through your body. A famous or most infamous version is when you see David Bowie in Labyrinth doing that. That was actually Michael Motion behind David Bowie doing all those tricks. But Fushigi actually stole the idea from Michael Motion, started making the orbs with the silver inserts in them so they wouldn't light things on fire for children, and then they marketed it to the public and didn't give Michael Motion anything. Yeah, basically it was an acrylic ball with a metallic ball put inside. Traditional contact juggling is made with just pure acrylic orbs that you'll like flow with your hands. You juggle in between. So that was like my specialties.
And aerial and contortion.
Contortion, yes. But I learned everything. We woke up in the morning. We would usually take a mile run. That was our morning warm up, and then we were in physical classes all day. I took tumbling. I took tramp wall. I did all the aerials. I learned balance, which included unicycle and tight wire walking. We learned to juggle. Part of our curriculum was we had to juggle 3 objects, and it had to be balls, rings, and clubs. And that was just part of our curriculum. We had to take physical theater. We had to take dance. So I kind of did everything in the circus tops wheelhouse because that was part of my curriculum. And we also learned how to do like backstage things. That's why if you see me at Exotica, like at the end of Exotica, you'll see me go from like, I am performance hottie Vamp to like throwing on some coveralls and breaking shit down because I'm part of the crew too.
That's super, super cool. I'm, for various reasons, a big fan of clowning.
Yeah, clowning is so much fun.
Yeah.
Buffoonery is my favorite.
And clowning has such a history, and so, I mean, we could do a whole other episode on that, but
yeah,
I won't go down off that tangent. What do you hope for the next chapter of your career once you recover from the surgery?
So I guess the next chapter is going into the showgirl divisions and competing amongst the showgirls because I'm no longer a newcomer because I've won a lot of the newcomer divisions. So that's the first step, is to step into the showgirl divisions and see how I fare up. And then I guess like the future, I would ideally like to own my own club one day, and be able to provide a better environment for the girls that work for me. I feel like there needs to be more female-owned clubs in the world. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And if not owning my own club immediately, then at least being a house mom when my body finally breaks and I'm not able to perform anymore. So I'm at least able to take care of the girls.
You're really very impressive. I mean, you're only 25 years old. You've done so many things. It's crazy.
I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up.
So you did everything.
I did everything.
How can fans, peers, and the community support you, whether it's your tour, your surgery, or your further future projects? Excuse me.
The best way to support me, at least for the surgery, I do have a GoFundMe out right now to help pay for the expenses in regards to that, because unfortunately, for a lot of people in the industry, we don't have insurance. That's something that a lot of the public doesn't realize. Like, getting private insurance is really difficult for a lot of us sex workers, both male and female. So I do have that out. And then as far as support goes throughout anything, is just follow me on my socials, come to a show, let me know what you think of my work. And of course, always tip your girls and your men, your entertainers, your bartenders, all the industry people. That's the best way you can help, is just be kind and make sure you show your gratitude in not only praise, but cash, because that's our business, right?
Compliments are worth less. Give us money.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing, is like when you're I see this a lot with my male performers too, unfortunately, is I feel like they don't get a lot of representation either. Because it's kind of like understood more so with men of like, oh, I'm paying for your time, here's money, compensation. But like even in Exotica, there's this dynamic with male entertainers in which, oh, well, you're the guy, so I don't have to pay you. And that's not the case at all. Like, they are also entertainers. So it's a blanket terminology. Tip your entertainers, tip your bartenders, tip your service workers. We work hard for you, you know?
Totally.
In closing, what's one message you'd like listeners, whether they're inside or outside the industry, to take away from your story?
I think the biggest thing that I'd like people to take away from my story is do your research on anything you go into, whether that be anything in the sex work industry or just fun play with a new dom. Do your research, make sure you're safe, make sure you're educated, and know what you're getting into. Ask all the questions. Ask them until you're annoying. You're not annoying, you're thorough. And don't be afraid to say no. And of course, give gratitude where it's due, give props to where they're due, like congratulate and also name drop the people you were inspired from, and continue to support us by tipping us and loving us.
It's to live by. That's beautiful.
I swear you're trying to make me cry today.
I'm not trying to make you guys
You are.
I'm making teared up too. I'm like, this is a lot for me. Just love us. Just love us, you know?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vamp. This was such a fun interview. I wish we had way more time, because AMD prepared so many more questions. I have so many more questions for you, but always leave them wanting more, right?
Exactly.
Yes. And worst case scenario, like, I'll be around for a little bit, not doing anything during recovery.
Yeah.
So if you guys want me back, I have more time on my hands coming up soon.
Thank you.
Do you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vamp, for being here with us. And Marx, this is your first episode with YAS Podcast, and you must have been practicing on another podcast somewhere, because you're amazing and this was awesome. And we really hope that our audience shows love to both Vamp and Marx. Do those follows. We're going to put links for all of your follows for both of you with the information that goes with this episode. And please don't forget to donate. This is a really difficult time for nonprofits, specifically sex worker nonprofits. We are being forgotten about. We are being left behind. And so we have, for our org specifically, we have decided that it is up to the community to help keep us here, because we have been trying with corporations, and that's not going so great, just to be real. Like, I'm being real. So yes, please consider donating. That's yaswork.org/donate. And also visit our store. We've got this cute little umbrella beanie out for the fall / winter. Thank you. This is just the first one that came. Yes, it just came in the mail today. It's so perfect. It came right before it was like an hour before we were meeting, and I was like, let's go check the mail, Rigby. And like, it's my dog. And there it was. So thank you. Yeah, and thanks so much for everyone for tuning in and listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
We love doing this work, maintaining a platform for sex workers to tell their stories, entertaining and educating the public. If you love our podcast, please consider donating. We are now a 501c3, so your donations would be considered tax deductible. Go to yaswork.org/donate and easily send us some support to help keep this podcast going. That's yaswork.org/donate. YAS Podcast is produced by YAS Work, which is a nonprofit dedicated to educating and entertaining audiences about sex work through media. Learn more about how you can get involved in the podcast and our organization by visiting yaswork.org. That's